Evolution is a core mechanic of the Pokemon series, where a Pokemon transforms from its weak, stupid baby form into its epic, stronger form, sometimes with more or less arms. So, how fast can you evolve any Pokemon in every mainline Pokemon game? For Pokemon Red and Blue, you might just think, oh, get Caterpie and evolve it into Metapod, and you're totally right. Like, I'm going to take a wild guess and assume that trying to evolve your starter before returning the parcel is slower than going through all the tutorial BS you have to go through before finding Caterpie on Route 2. So you gotta choose Charmander, spam Scratch, and there ain't no way around the parcel quest. We gotta do it before we can buy Pokeballs or progress. So just run away and press A, like we're playing Steve Minecraft from Smashy Bros. Once we buy balls and walk past the catch tutorial, wow, it'd be nice to do that in other games, we can finally encounter Caterpie on Route 2, except it has a very low encounter rate, especially if you want a level 4 or 5 one. So while the absolute most optimal strat here would be to roll the 5% odds of a good Caterpie or RNG manip this area, I did not put my skill points in luck or intelligence. So for a beginner's run, it's better to just go all the way to Viridian Forest, where a decent level Caterpie has about 30% odds. And from there, you just gotta level them up until you have a crisp Metapod. My first attempt, I got a level 5 Caterpie, Pog, but then I let him die in a battle. He would have leveled up, but I got greedy, so that run was over. Second attempt, level 4 Caterpie. This is still a decent level to work with. I did run back to the Pokemon Center because Charmander got low while switch training, but I finished the run in 17 minutes and 28 seconds. Bro is tweaking. So I did a third attempt where I bought potions so I could heal in the forest, and I chose Bulbasaur so I'd take less damage against Weedle's Poison Sting. But that run ended up being terrible. I got the worst Bulbasaur known to man with garbage defense and terrible accuracy. And apparently you can't even buy potions this early. The Charmander run's still the GOAT. The glitchless route for Pokemon Yellow is very similar. Obviously, we can't evolve our partner Pikachu, so it's Caterpie again. Same place as last time, he doesn't even show up on Route 2 anymore. But I got a level 4 again, and my time ended up being 15 minutes and 41 seconds, which is weirdly not as fast as I thought it'd be compared to Red and Blue. Like, you can buy potions in this game, so I did that, which made it so I didn't have to go back to the Pokemon Center. But there are 2 mandatory catching tutorials in this game, so I lost some time there. And I didn't get a level 6 Caterpie, which taking the time it took from 6 to 7 in my run and adding it to my first Caterpie encounter, a Caterpie at level 6 would have saved
4 minutes and 13 seconds.
I'm not super familiar with the Johto games, but Gold, Silver, and Crystal all have basically the same route. It looks like Caterpie's the play again because everything else early game evolves too late. And also, like in Gen 1, we've got a pretty big fetch quest at the beginning that we can't do much about. So go through all the tutorial stuff with optimal strats like running away and saying no to everyone who tries to talk to you. Catch Caterpie, and then using the trainers on that route and switch training, level them up to level 7. And there you go, Metapod, but that's not how it went for me. My experience sucked. Like first, the time to get Pokeballs in this game alone is almost as long as the Gen runs in their entirety. Then, I couldn't find a Caterpie to save my life. I found a 5% chance Hoppip before finding that damn worm. He is a worm, by the way. He's not the caterpillar Pokemon. He's the worm Pokemon. When I finally got one, it was level 3, but I didn't care. Except leveling her up was a pain in the ass because the trainers on this and the next routes are weak as hell. Come on! Why do you have 3 level 2 Caterpie? You can't even catch them that low! It took over 30 minutes to evolve Caterpie into Metapod. Good news, not Caterpie again. Bad news, still a worm. So we pick May, time doesn't matter, and we get our first Pokemon, Mudkip, because he's the GOAT. Next, we have yet another beginning quest where we gotta walk up, fight Brendan, and walk back down to get Pokeballs. Now we can catch Wurmple on Route 101, but its highest level is 3, so the grind begins again. My time was 21:56, and it could have been faster if I didn't do a stupid. But actually, the epic 5-head strat is to catch a bunch of Zigzagoons with pickup so they can pick up rare candies to evolve Wurmple. Now, how does pickup work? Well, after every battle, there's a 10% chance that one of your Gooners will pick up an item, and there's a 10% chance that that item will be a rare candy, for a nice 1% chance of a rare candy per Zigzagoon. So, while it's very unlikely for this strat to actually work, the most optimal route possible would be to catch a Zigzagoon, catch a level 3 Wurmple, catch 3 more Zigzagoons, kill a random Wurmple or something, hope they all picked up rare candies, and then level up Wurmple. So when I tried to unruby, it took 12 to 15 minutes following those steps, so that would be the most optimal strat possible if it actually worked. Once again, Caterpie is the play, except I caught a Weedle. Crazy. There's not really anything to say. This is Red and Blue again. My time was 18:14. For the first time, the strat is not simply find worm, switch train, because you don't find Kricketot on Route 201, only Starly and Bidoof. And Starly first evolves at level 14, the same as Chimchar. They have the same leveling rate, and your Chimchar starts at a higher level than any Starly you could catch, so you might as well start grinding Chimchar, especially because it takes over 11 minutes at world record pace to even get Pokeballs, which then also makes things complicated. Kricketot Kricketot is on Route 202 and evolves at level 10, but of course, you have to do all the tutorial stuff, and its highest level in the wild is 4. And it has a low spawn rate, so is it faster to just simply grind Chimchar? Well, like I said, Kricketot's highest level in the wild is 4, so at minimum, it'll take 6 levels to evolve it. So what would Chimchar's level be after blasting through the tutorial as fast as possible? 5. So Chimchar would have 9 levels to go from the time you can catch Kricketot. 6 is lower than 9. Nice. Therefore, my hypothesis is that it's faster to catch and evolve Kricketot. And how long did that take? 48 minutes. There's got to be a faster way to do this. I didn't do everything perfectly, and it did take like 7 minutes of searching to find a Kricketot, but this grind was miserable. And judging by the world record speedrun, it seems like Chimchar was the play after all. Just going through the main story as fast as possible. He evolves at like 30 minutes or something. There you go. That's how you do it. There's the time. Oh hey, it's Caterpie again. Here's the time. Oh hi, speedrunners. Once again, there is no easy answer. We can't get this game's bug until after the second gym, and it evolves at level 20 anyway. So, what are our options? Well, on Route 1, we have Patrat and Lillipup. Patrat's out of the picture, it evolves at level 20. Lillipup, on the other hand, evolves at level 16, one level before all of the starters in the game. On Route 1, it can be up to level 4, so it's usually not worth catching because your starter will usually be level 6 unless you really suck ass at battling. But on Route 2, it can be all the way up to level 7. So in order to see if it's worth waiting until Route 2, I made my way through the first town and end fight as fast as possible to see if my starter would be level 8 or higher, at which point it'd just be faster with them. And after all that, my Tepig was level 8, so we're going to go with Pignite. Technically, Lillipup could still be faster because it doesn't have to level as high, so it'd need less experience, but that's not taking into account the time you have to catch and find one, so Tepig's probably the same amount of time. The run was pretty much just going through the game as fast as possible, only using Tepig. It took me 41 minutes and 21 seconds, and then I watched the world record speedrun again. And they evolved Lillipup at 31 minutes and 10 seconds, so screw me, I guess. Thankfully, Black and White 2 is much more clear cut. Your starter is the fastest evolving Pokemon by level up early game. There are basically no other options, and I'm just gonna take the hint for this one and check the speedrun, and oh! There you go! X and Y was also pretty simple to figure out. We have Caterpie again, except I got a Weedle. First encounter too, by the way. It was very easy to level up. X and Y are really baby games that leveled up after basically every battle. And if my Pokemon did get low, I could just turn around and have them healed by Shauna. 16 minutes, 35 seconds, easy clap. Gooner Strat is back, baby! Nah, I evolved Wurmple again. And it seemed to be going a lot faster until that final level up from 6 to 7, where I ran out of trainers and had to grind wild Pokemon. The time was almost exactly the same as the original Ruby and Sapphire, being 21 minutes and 28 seconds. Sun and Moon's intro sucks, and I'm gonna be real, I'm not sitting through the intro of both the regular and Ultra games. They're about the same 15-minute 8-button mash fest until you get Pokeballs, and the encountered Pokemon are basically the same. So for this video, I'm gonna do Ultra Sun, and we're just gonna forget about regular Sun. So once you get to the area where you get Pokeballs, you kinda can't leave, so we need a Pokemon here that'll evolve early. And what's on this route? Oh, thank God. Once again, Caterpie is our little guy for us, but this game's a lot like Gen 2 through 4, where the Pokemon here are really low level, so you don't gain a ton of experience from battles, which makes it a real grind. After I already sat through 18 minutes of text and a minute where my PC froze and went black. It's a problem it's been having. I think it's a power supply thing, but my warranty is over, so I just kind of have to deal. So yeah, the grind was not going well. It got to the point where Caterpie was gaining only 10 EXP after a battle. But it's okay, because I kind of planned for this, because the area after is a story battle with How, after which Caterpie could evolve. But as I progressed, I got a bunch of cutscenes leading up to the fight, and the fight was slow because I wanted to use just Caterpie against Rowlet, because I was scared he wouldn't evolve if I switched. But he did anyway. My time was 37 minutes and 7 seconds. It is switch time now. Let's Go is Kanto again, so catch one of the worms in Viridian Forest. But thanks to the departures from series norms this game is known for, this was the fastest game so far. For one, catching Pokemon made wild encounters faster than any other game. And you can boost that amount of experience you get by how good your throw is, but also by doing some 1P2C and catching with double Pokeballs. So after just a few catches, I was able to level up one of my Weedles to level 7, where it evolved into Kakuna, and it took 13 minutes and 33 seconds. I was dreading Sword and Shield a bit because, like Sun and Moon, they never stopped talking. But once I got through all the A-pressing and voiceless cutscenes, catching Caterpie was pretty easy. It's available Route 1, and I lucked out with a level 5 guy. And the always on EXP share was great, so I didn't have to waste time switching him out, though I did forget that at first and lost a little time. It only took 23 minutes and 15 seconds and was surprisingly painless, except for the whole, that part. I was also sort of dreading this game. Diamond and Pearl were by far the slowest time. I got beat by the normal speedrun. So would you believe me if I told you this was actually the fastest evolve in the whole video? How'd I do it? Pokemon Home. I caught a Caterpie in Shield, leveled it up so it was barely below level 7, and put it in Home. Then I mashed my way through the intro of the game, put out at the Pokemon Center, booted up Pokemon Home, put Caterpie in the game, opened the game, and killed a Bidoof, achieving a sub 10 evolution. Now, you may be asking why I didn't do this in Shield, because I didn't think of it before this one. Legends Arceus kind of surprised me with how insanely long its intro is. Like, I wasn't expecting this game to be the longest game to get starters in the series so far. So after sitting through almost 30 minutes of pressing the A button, you're set free to go catch another frickin' worm. And this game is nice because you don't really have to battle, just throw your Pokemon at trees to level up. It's awesome. My time was 34:41, but in the world record speedrun, they evolved at about 28 minutes because they had a route and specific things to hit and catch while I just kind of ran around and threw my balls at stuff. Scarlet and Violet is where things get a little messy. This game seems like it'd be very free form. You can go anywhere, except it takes 46 minutes at world record pace to really start getting into the open world thick of things. So we gotta do it before then. There's a smaller open area before you go to the school, but it still takes 20 minutes to get there. But even before that, after getting our first Pokemon, we get the catching tutorial and a little route we can catch things on. I think that this is our best bet. While we don't have Caterpie, we do have another bug that evolves before 10, Scatterbug. And like Legends Arceus, we don't even really gotta battle to do this because you can send Pokemon out to auto battle. So my first run, I tried Bug Strat, but it turns out you can't actually evolve through auto battling. You actually gotta play out the level up, and there isn't an evolve option in the menu like in Legends Arceus. Why did this game take steps back? So Scatterbug would have evolved around 25 minutes in, which means that evolving here would be faster than going through the whole intro. But this isn't our only option, because for the first time, you can get Pokemon from Pokemon Home before getting to a Pokemon Center. Like, bro, I got God on Route 1, so I went back to Pokemon Shield again, caught a Caterpie, and leveled it up to 6 and some change and put it into Pokemon Home. And then I played through the intro, went into Pokemon Home, and it turns out Caterpie can't go to Scarlet and Violet, but that's fine. There's gotta be something else in here that'll work. Like this shiny Shinx that's a level over its Evolve level. Except it needed like 1,000 EXP, and I was only getting a few per battle, so that wasn't gonna work. But I also had level 8 Kricketot, and that was going great, but I just barely didn't reel it in fast enough to make it evolve at level 10. Kricketot's strat seems good though, so I went back to Legends Arceus, caught a Kricketot, and got it almost to level 10, and then transferred it into Pokemon Home, started a new Violet run, mashed A for 10 minutes, put Kricketot into Violet, and I was able to evolve it after a couple battles at 1604. And that's it! There is no moral of the story. I just tricked you into watching me talk about fictional bugs for 12 minutes.